Welcome, dear sisters and brothers, to this special edition of Psalms at Midweek. Zoning in on our wonderful little dog, Ari, who is a beaver terrier. And then back here we have Bongo and we have Kiki. They're patiently waiting for Gina to return home. And so it provides a neat opportunity to share some of these members of our family with you. I'm excited to share this video with you because I'm going to introduce a new translation of the Bible. Maybe not new, brand new, since it was coming out between 1993 and 2002, something like that. But it's a very exciting translation called The Message. And I'd like to share some of the verses of Psalm 68, which is our psalm for this week, in such a way that you could really appreciate. But I want to share with you the publisher's notice about this author, Eugene Peterson, and what he went through in creating this translation. Why was the message written? The best answer to that question comes from Eugene Peterson himself. Quotes, "While I was teaching a class on Galatians, I began to realize that the adults in my class weren't feeling the vitality and directness that I sensed as I read and studied the New Testament in its original Greek. Writing straight from the original text, I began to attempt to bring into English the rhythms and idioms of the original language. I knew that the early readers of the New Testament were captured and engaged by these writings, and I wanted my congregation to be impacted in the same way. I hoped to bring the New Testament to life for two different types of people. Those who hadn't read the Bible because it seemed too distant and irrelevant, and those who had read the Bible so much that it had just become old hat." End quotes. Peterson's parishioners simply weren't connecting with the real meaning of the words and the relevance of the New Testament for their own lives. So he began to bring into English the rhythms and idioms of the original ancient Greek, writing straight out of the Greek text without looking at other English translations. As he shared his version of Galatians with them, they quit stirring their coffee and started catching Paul's passion and excitement as he wrote to a group of Christians whom he was guiding in the ways of Jesus Christ. For more than 2 years, Peterson devoted all his efforts to the Message, New Testament. His primary goal was to capture the tone of the text and the original conversational feel of the Greek in contemporary English. Language changes. New words are formed. Old words take on new meaning. There is a need in every generation to keep the language of the gospel message current, fresh, understandable, the way it was for its very first readers. That is why the Message seeks to accomplish for contemporary readers. It is a version for our time designed to be read by contemporary people in the same way as the original Koine Greek and Hebrew manuscripts were savored by people thousands of years ago. That's why Nave Press felt the time was for a new version. When we hear something over and over again in the same way, we can become so familiar with it that the text loses its impact. The Message strives to help readers hear the living Word of God, the Bible, in a way that engages and intrigues us right where we are. Some people like to read the Bible in Elizabethan English. Others want to read a version that gives a close word-for-word correspondence between the original languages and English. Eugene Peterson recognized that the original sentence structure is very different from that of contemporary English. He decided to strive for the spirit of the original manuscripts, to express the rhythm of the voices, the flavor of the idiomatic expressions, the subtle connotations of meaning that are often lost in English translations. The goal of the message is to engage people in the reading process and help them understand what they read. This is not a study Bible, but rather a reading Bible. The verse numbers, which are not in the original documents, have been left out of the print version to facilitate easy and enjoyable reading. The original books of the Bible were not written in formal language. The message tries to recapture the word in the words we use today. It's exciting to share this with you, but I'm going to do what we typically do is let's get some quiet time together. And then I'm going to simply read maybe 10 or so verses of the message translation in Psalm 68. And then invite you, and incidentally, before I forget, I want to tell you that the message translation is available in Bible Gateway. If you click on the reading for today in the Bible Through the Seasons, you click on it, it will take you right to that translation of the message. So I hope you'll find it refreshing, as I'm finding it very refreshing to be able to share this video with you in the hopes that we will find great joy and peace together and excitement to hear the exuberant language of Psalm 68 and its composers in the fresh language of today in an effort to capture the fresh language of Hebrew that would take some time now to become quiet. And I'm pleased to share with you 30 seconds of the wonderful fountain that we've had in our home in East Brunswick for about the last 10 years or so. May you find its refreshing, trickling water sounds of the Spirit, leading you more and more into silence. Here is now some verses from Psalm 68. And what I would suggest that you do is after I read this, and when you work on your own meditation and thoughts and feelings about these, you might take whatever's the current translation that you like to use. See if you can flesh out the distinction. Here now a couple of verses from Psalm 68. Up with God! Down with his enemies. Adversaries run for the hills. Gone like a puff of smoke, like a blob of wax in the fire. One look at God, and the wicked vanish. When the righteous see God in action, they'll laugh, they'll sing, they'll laugh and sing for joy. Sing hymns to God. All heaven sing out. Clear the way for the coming of Cloud Rider. Enjoy God. Cheer when you see him. Father of orphans, champion of widows, is God in his holy house. God makes homes for the homeless, leads prisoners to freedom, but leaves rebels to rotten hell. God, when you took the lead with your people, when you marched out into the wild, earth shook, sky broke out in a sweat. God was on the march. Even Sinai trembled at the sight of God on the move, at the sight of Israel's God. You pour out rain in buckets, O God. Thorns and cactus become an oasis for your people to camp in and enjoy. You set them up in business. They went from rags to riches. The Lord gave the word. Thousands called out the good news. Kings of the armies are on the run, while housewives, safe and sound back home, divide up the plunder of Canaanite silver and gold. On that day that Shaddai scattered the kings, snow fell on Black Mountain. And so on, this translation goes. Enjoy it. Feel the freshness of the Spirit these days between Ascension and Pentecost as we prepare for the celebration of the coming of the Spirit, not again, but the realization that the Spirit has already come and we're just living and thriving from it. God bless you. Have blessed days. We'll see you soon. Join with us on Sunday, May the 23rd at 9:45 in our church or online, and let us celebrate the confirmation of 6 wonderful young people in our church. God be with you.